Welcome, Aquarius, to your monthly horoscope for January for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol on the desktop version of YouTube. This year and this month begins in sparkling fashion for you. Venus, the planet of love and attraction, is in your sign. But there's more than this, Aquarius, because the moon in Pisces and the sun in Capricorn reach a midpoint which is conjunct this Venus position. So the balance between the more receptive side of your nature and the more action-orientated side through the sun is perfectly balanced and forging that alliance with Venus, which is going to give you a real boost of charisma as you make your way into this new year. Also, Mars, the planet of drive and passion, is in the most dominant and visible part of your scope, the 10th house. So as you set your New Year's resolutions, the chances are you're going to want to aim high. But it's also true that Chiron, the comet, which is very much to do with our wounds, is conjunct Black Moon Lilith in Aries as this year begins. And if there is something around your personal communication that you feel doesn't get heard by others, this also gives you the permission and the push to be a little bit more upfront about expressing how you feel. Now, of course, there is a collection of energy in the more sheltered part of your scope, the 12th house. This is led by Jupiter, the planet of expansion. But Jupiter is also about philosophy. It's also about spirituality. And from the start of this year through to the 19th of December, it is going to be encouraging you to delve ever deeper into yourself or to share the lessons and knowledge that you have with others. As this year begins also, Jupiter is alongside Mercury, the planet of communication. It wouldn't be a surprise in some ways, despite the combination between the midpoint of the moon and Venus, giving you a lot of encouragement to give yourself maybe some kind of makeover or be more self-confident about your personal qualities, and Mars asking you to be more ambitious. I think the combination between Mercury and Jupiter in this more sheltered location suggests that tactics are going to be very important to your progress this month. Now, they're going to be linking up to your modern ruler of Uranus, which is in the part of your scope to do with your home and family. It is possible that a conversation can happen which is very uplifting as you come into this year, one that may even be a little bit unexpected. Also, Mars is going to be switching signs on the 2nd into the sign of Sagittarius, which for you is much more sociable and interactive. It helps you to balance that part of you that does need to be individualistic with the other part of you that's so skilled at networking with others. But I don't think there's any doubt about it. With Jupiter also close to the Sun as this year and this month begins, you are being given a lot of encouragement to get in touch with perhaps the more hidden, even shadow side of your nature. And if that has been the story of the last couple of years, which wouldn't be a surprise, as your co-ruler Saturn has made its way through the sign of Capricorn, you may be thinking, what is all this going to build up to when we get to that peak of energy on the 12th of January? Well, I want you to be very reassured, because Jupiter combining with the Sun is very hearty, it's very reinforcing. Messages may come through in ways that you're not expecting, which can actually be very uplifting. Also, Jupiter is going to be combining with the South Node in the 12th house of your situation on the 7th. And that can be a critical time when perhaps there are some people moving out of your world that are not as sincere, that you do need to cut out, that there is dead wood that needs to make way for new energy. But in some ways, it can also be a very uplifting process if you're freeing yourself up to give the energy you have got to the worthy causes, the people and situations that are really meaningful for you. Now, your sense of self-worth is also emphasised by the moon's position at the start of this year, but it is alongside Neptune, so there may be times in January and throughout the year when you have to reinforce the basic foundations of your being, because Neptune is such a soaking up energy. So if you're around people who are more draining, that is something to try to continue to create firmer boundaries around. But that sees us inching towards this big, absolutely incredible stellium of energy in Capricorn, but not before we have an annular lunar eclipse in Cancer on the 10th. And this is going to be angling back across the heavens and connecting with this lineup of the Sun, Mercury, Ceres, the asteroid of nurture, and of course Saturn and Pluto. And I think it's important that if you are wanting to change your work situation over the next 6 months, you're always mindful of the psychological environment that you find yourself in. There has to be a good balance. And if you are one of those Aquarius people that's very much in your mind, because being an air sign, communication and intellect are so important to you, if you have found yourself resisting, embracing the undercurrents, the more sensory side of life over the last couple of years, I really feel that your resistance will be in vain. The best thing is to sacrifice yourself to the process. And then by the 12th, when we have that direct conjunction with the Sun, Saturn and Pluto, Ceres and Mercury, it is an awesome time, because if you have really been feeling the alteration in your circumstances very keenly over the last couple of years, perhaps particularly when Uranus squared up with Mars in 2018, if you're an early born Aquarius, or perhaps last year when Uranus went into Taurus, if there has been turbulence at the base of your existence or around family relationships, it wouldn't be a surprise if you did feel tentative about this big collection of energy. But it is saying, try to embrace even your fears, even the parts of life that may seem a bit scary or are rather tender, or past hurts or past angers. Embrace them all, because then you can start to cleanse yourself in such a fabulous way. Now, you're going to have an opportunity from the 18th of February, as Saturn inches away from its alliance with Pluto, to free yourself from some of this quite heavy stuff that has been particularly apparent over the last 6 months. But on the 14th of January, Venus moves into an awesome location for you, and there could be some almost immediate good news financially. It's replaced in Aquarius by Mercury on the 17th. The Sun joins your sign on the 21st. There's an Aquarius new moon on the 24th, so you can move into your power, move out of the more reflective zone that is so prominent at the start of this year, and move much more into the here and now, and also become much more directed about what you want to achieve. Also, Jupiter is forging an ace angle with Pluto from the 13th through to the 24th, and when these two get together, good fortune can fall for you. But what you're doing behind the scenes, where you're being sacrificing, where you're driven by good motives and good karma, it's all going to come your way as this year develops, believe me. It is true that Mars is going to be squaring up with Neptune in the last week of this month. So when it comes to risk-taking or big plans or connections with groups or friends who may have some kind of interest in a get-rich-quick scheme, be a little bit more cautious as the month comes to an end. You could find yourself wanting to just go for it with this wonderful set of influences, with the Sun, with Mercury, with the new moon, and that's good. But just temper this by your longer term hopes and wishes and your idealism. Your idealism could be affected by someone's lack of decency or honesty, particularly around money, as the month does come to a close. But in general, this is a hugely exciting month for you. If you'd like to know what 2020 will hold for you individually, based on your personal birth information of time, date and place, please see the link beneath this video. You can order your year's forecast and get 30% off. But for now, it's been a real honour being with you. Good luck and goodbye.